We now see the enamel shade that's been placed and polymerized after each application. In the same way, the silicone guide will be used to position this enamel shade along the free edge, while working carefully with the material in compression all the time so as not to include any air bubbles. After the curing phase, we have a good evaluation of the overall volume of the incisor, of the orientation of the free edge, and already to some extent the configuration of the proximal angles. Nevertheless, some material is still missing in some parts, and we correct this by adding small applications and several layers of the composite. Of course, the use of a fine matrix, and preferably a metallic matrix, avoids any contact with the proximal tooth. A cutting instrument such as a small periodontal curette allows any excess to be removed at this stage. We will now make some finishing improvements on the mesial part, with the insertion of a very fine metallic matrix band and a final application of composite material. It remains to complete the modelling of the various vestibular convexities. It can now clearly be seen that the material is worked so as to avoid incorporation of air bubbles, purely by compressing it progressively so that it spreads across the entire labial surface. A final application improves the mesial angle. One of the advantages of this technique is to visualize the aesthetical aspects of the configuration of the final restoration. The first excess amounts are removed at this stage using a red ring burr, mounted on a red ring contra angle, preferably on a turbine, to allow better tactile sensitivity. It is important to preserve with the burr the volumes of the various convexities, which will allow us to obtain a light reflection quite similar to one of the neighbouring tooth. The edge has already been polished using an enhanced disc. In the same way, always using this enhanced disc, finishing touches are made on the distal and mesial angles. The slight diastema that remains is the one that existed before. The patient was satisfied with this. Always remember to look via the incisal edge at the volume of the restoration, to ensure that proper alignment with the other teeth in this section is maintained. Polishing is then completed using the Prismagloss polishing paste and an enhanced cup. The enhanced system includes 2 polishing pastes of different grits, regular and extra fine. These enhanced cups can be used on both the smooth labial and concave palatal surfaces. The light reflections are quite similar on both teeth 11 and 21, and well integrated with the vestibular surface, which has been nicely restored. At this point, the rubber dam is removed and the articulation points are adjusted in the classical way. One must verify that the anterior line is properly established. Here is the final view of the completed restoration, just after removal of the rubber dam. The teeth are still dehydrated, which explains the still partial visibility of the composite resin restoration. In the longer term, one can see that the aesthetical integration of the Ceramex Geo restoration